Thanks for joining us. I'm Megan Roberts. U.S. President Donald Trump is continuing his threats to take over Greenland this week. The government of Greenland has reiterated that the land belongs to its people and is not for sale. Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark, and today Greenland's prime minister said he plans to keep it that way. Trump has repeatedly claimed that the U.S. needs control of Greenland for national security purposes. Here in Canada, Inuit leaders are speaking up against those threats. The CBC's Mahnor Mubarak tells us what they're saying.
ITK President Natan Obed said that with the U.S. threatening to take over Greenland, the federal government needs to act urgently to secure Inuit Nunavut. Obed says that could look like investing in marine and aviation infrastructure. He says that Trump's claim that Denmark is underinvesting in Greenland and that that's the reason another state can acquire it could allow other countries to use the same argument for Inuit Nunavut.
I do worry about that case being made against Inuit Nunavut and Canada. So the best thing that we can do to counter that is to invest in our homeland, to invest in our communities and invest in our people.
Natan says that NATO allies need to work together and that ITK recognized the Northwest Passage as Canadian waters. He says its ownership has been disputed. The passage is a shipping route that could open up more given the warming weather. The eastern portion of the Northwest Passage runs along the coast of Greenland. Trump has cited the need for Greenland for security reasons, and the White House released a statement earlier this month saying that military use is always an option to control Greenland. Paul Ergnaut is NTI's acting vice president and says Inuit and the entire circumpolar world is not the enemy of the United States, and that comments from Trump are disappointing.
We support the people of Greenland, and we just have to be there for them.
The foreign ministers of Denmark and Greenland will meet U.S. Vice President and Secretary of State on Wednesday. Mahnor Mubarak, CBC News, Iqaluit.
Nunavut Premier John Mayne also put out a statement on the issue. It reads in part, Nunavut stands in solidarity with Greenland and supports its autonomy. We remain hopeful that constructive dialogue will support stability in our Arctic nations. Nunavut's Kudlik Energy Corporation, or QEC, is advising the public of a break-in at its corporate office in Iqaluit. The break-in happened over the weekend. QEC estimates around 800 customer records may have been accessed. They had information like customer names, mailing addresses, and potentially billing-related details for customers with pre-authorized payments. The company says there's no evidence that the information has been misused at this time. QEC is encouraging customers with pre-authorized payments to review their bank or credit card statements as a precaution. The company says the situation is under investigation by the RCMP. A man from Watson Lake, Yukon, charged with manslaughter has been granted bail. Ryan Leverder was charged in connection with the death of a 26-year-old woman in Ross River in April. He was granted bail on Monday. Tori Fitzpatrick reports.
Judge John Phelps granted Leverder bail with conditions. He faces 4 charges in relation to the death of Sky Dick. His mother will supervise him upon his release. She must provide $1,000 to the court and agreed to pay $4,000 should he breach the terms of his release. Leverder is required to live with his mother at her residence in Lower Post, BC, and he will be under house arrest unless given permission to leave by his bail supervisor. Should permission be granted, he can only leave for 3 hours within a 24-hour period. He is allowed to travel within Lower Post and to Watson Lake if he's accompanied by his mother. He must also report to RCMP when he arrives in Watson Lake. Leverder is not permitted to consume alcohol or drive, and he is not allowed to go to Ross River or have any communication with Dick's family and friends. In addition to manslaughter, Leverder is also charged with failing to remain at the scene of an accident, failing to provide the necessities of life, and criminal negligence causing death. His next court appearance is February 6th. Tori Fitzpatrick, CBC News, Whitehorse.
The city of Yellowknife has found elevated lead levels at specific water sources in 4 of its buildings: the YK Arena, the Curling Club, the City Garage, and City Hall. Affected sources of water are already out of service. The city decided to test some buildings based on age and usage in late December after lead was found in the drinking water at some schools. Testing done at the Fieldhouse and Multiplex did not show lead levels higher than acceptable limits. Now, the city says it'll test all of its other buildings based on these results. It's bringing in an external service to help.
Obviously, it's always a concern when you see something that is abnormal, especially within city facilities. I mean, the care for our employees is a huge thing for the city. But you do the best you can. I think the fact that we've taken the step of doing the testing on our own facilities, which, is not a regulatory thing that we had to do, but we did it as, the responsible employer.
The city says the municipal water supply is regularly tested and safe to drink, but trucked water sources still have to be tested. The Yukon government is preparing to roll out its youth health survey next week. The survey looks at many things, including relationships, bullying, and eating habits. It's used to guide program and policy decisions. And as Callie McTavish reports, the territory has seen some big changes in the last 10 years.
Every 4 years, the Yukon Youth Health Survey checks in on kids from grades 6 to 10. Last time around, the survey found something pretty surprising. Yukon girls are more active on average than girls in the rest of the country. Ian Parker, who manages the survey for the Yukon government, says being active connects with a whole bunch of positive mental health indicators. And that's a big deal, because researchers were pretty worried about young girls' health in the Yukon a few years back. This survey is part of a national project led by Queen's University. It looks at factors including urban versus rural, gender, and ages. And here's a fun fact. The Yukon actually pioneered looking at positive indicators, things like cultural engagement and the quality of friendships. That focus on what's going well has helped communities shape solutions, not just track problems. For example, microgrants have helped kickstart programs across the territory like ninja training in Watson Lake, carving with elders in Dawson City, and building trails in Carmacks. Parker says things are trending in the right direction, but more work is needed around kids' habits online. For CBC News in Whitehorse, I'm Callie McTavish.
A recent call-in show on CBC Radio gave new insight into the effects of drug and alcohol use in Nunavut communities. Residents are calling the issue an epidemic that affects everyone, including the territory's youngest. The CBC's Tommy Kakak has more.
CBC's Sunday Weekend Show with Toby Utak attracted nearly a dozen callers who vented their concerns about hard drugs and alcohol within the territory. Nunavut Mute also called into CBC North's Talkback line. Ekalumiutak Pauline Alenga told the Talkback line that the issue is affecting Nunavut's youngest.
Even pregnant women are now using crack cocaine.
Ekalumiutak Mary Apaleluk also called the Talkback line to say addictions are causing children to be neglected.
When parents are using, they don't take care of their children, neglecting them when they are hungry, dirty, and even getting blisters from the fumes.
Apaleluk says she is looking into starting an advisory group to work with the public to address addiction issues. Pond Inlet's Joanna Akiutak Kunu called the weekend show to say alcohol is destroying families.
Alcohol and hard drugs are breaking too many homes.
Nunavut currently does not have a residential addictions treatment program. The Akhoshagya Addictions Treatment Center was set to open last month but has been delayed. Tanakaka, CBC News, Iqaluit.
New research shows Canadians are drinking more frequently than they did before the pandemic. The CBC's Jamie Strachan has more on troubling trends and the health impacts.
The sweet notes in there.
Name a cocktail and Gail Lynch can likely make it. Booze free.
So I'm making a dark and stormy, and dark and stormy is rum. It can't be because there's no alcohol. So I'm trying to recreate the flavors.
The owner of one of Toronto's only alcohol-free bars, she says her typical clients are cutting back.
They're saying, I'd like to live a life where I'm taking care of my body.
A new study offers a window into the drinking habits of more than 3,000 Ontarians and confirms some of what Lynch is seeing. Overall, the percentage of adults who've had a drink in the past year is down.
There's a slight decrease in the number of people who are drinking alcohol. I do hear that out in social settings, that people are making those reductions.
But troubling trends persist. Binge drinking, 5 or more drinks on a single occasion weekly, is slightly up, along with people drinking daily. And symptoms related to high alcohol dependence are higher than before the pandemic. Things like liver disease and cancer, but also
saying things you wouldn't want to say, getting into arguments, getting into physical fights, legal issues.
The study doesn't fully account for increased availability of alcohol in Ontario, but this expert says it's bad for problem drinkers.
Having alcohol more available to consumers in the same way that we know, lighting a match to a fire has known consequences.
But in Ontario and across the country, there's an effort by many to drink less.
This is
nearly halfway through dry January. Lynch is seeing it firsthand.
I think folks are saying, no, don't judge me. I may not do it 100%. And maybe my dry January is the first 2 weeks or the first and the last week. The point is I'm mindfully consuming.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Nearly halfway through dry January, she hopes more people keep it going.
And that ginger comes in at the end.
At the end, yes.
Jamie Strachan, CBC News, Toronto.
Yukoners are still recovering from a recent cold snap. In early December, some regions saw temperatures drop to more than -50. The territory's electrical grid nearly hit capacity. It's all given fresh urgency to a proposed mega project that would see the Yukon grid connected to the Western Canada grid via British Columbia. Virginie Anne explains what that would look like.
Did you know that the Yukon electric grid is completely isolated from the rest of the gigantic North American grid? But this might change.
The North Coast transmission line will enable transformative industrial projects, including silicium, LNG, as well as multiple critical minerals developments in the Golden Triangle.
Ottawa's Major Projects Office is currently reviewing an ambitious mega project, the North Coast Transmission Line in Northwest BC. That's a plan to twin transmission lines, and that could include a connection between the Yukon and the national power grid. So basically, just imagine trying to connect the BC grid all the way here with the longest extension cord, a very high voltage one. That would be pretty convenient if that was that easy. But the project is a bit more complicated than that and very expensive, with a price tag of about $4 billion. But what's the purpose of this project? According to a report from the Yukon government, there would be major benefits. The project is currently being sold as a way to stabilize and increase the territory's grid capacity, especially in the winter during peak demand when it's -50. The transmission line would also cut off communities' reliance on diesel. There's really no doubt that the Yukon needs more energy. The territory's population is growing fast. There's more and more homes to light up, more infrastructure to heat up. The report also talks about increasing energy security as a way to strengthen the national defense in the Arctic. And one way to do that is through critical mineral development. But there's one former engineer that thinks that list of benefits, well, it's a unicorn.
When we're looking at these kinds of projects, we look at them realistically, call a spade, and try not to sort of greenwash or pull the wool over people's eyes. And I feel that this shared grid, shared benefits report is really an over-the-top sales job for getting federal support for this project. The justification is not in serving of Yukon communities and the present electrical load requirements. Its justification can probably only rest in serving mining industry.
By serving mining industry, Mason mostly means the proposed Casino mine. It has been dubbed as the largest potential mine in the Yukon. The report states that mine would require more than double what the territory's current grid can supply. The company developing the mine is already playing the green card, saying that being connected to BC grid would be preferable because otherwise it would have to rely on diesel. Mason is not the only one who doubts connecting BC and Yukon electric grids is a fix-all solution.
We still need to be able to rely on being self-supported because transmission lines do go down.
So what Babcock is saying is that even with a transmission line to the south, the territory would still be at risk if the weather conspired to topple those lines. The transmission line may one day bolster the Yukon's power grid, but not anytime soon. If Ottawa approves the project, experts believe that it would still take at least a decade for it to be operational. And that's a bit alarming because Yukon Energy expects peak demands to increase significantly, around 90% by 2035 compared to 2020 levels. The utility is planning on building new diesel and LGN-run power centers to help with that, but that's also going to take a while. Bottom line, after several weeks of sustained cold and rising demand that showed how vulnerable our grid is, the territory is left managing increasing strain with no major relief on the horizon. Virginie Anne, CBC News, Whitehorse.
Where does bravery live? In Marie-Philippe Poulin, who went from playing in a boys' league to trailblazing a pro-women's league. And in Cynthia Appia, who refuses to let the high cost of sports slow her down. It lives inside Piper and Paul, who use every fall as a chance to bounce back even higher. Where does bravery live? Inside every Canadian, in the moments that define us.
This January on CBC TV.
I am all over this party.
It's officially cancel your plans season.
You can't even put your arms down.
What? Turn up the heat with unforgettable drama.
You know, once we do this, there's no going back.
Unstoppable laughs.
Get up.
Family favorites.
Let's play the feud, everybody.
And gripping mysteries.
How gruesome, indeed.
This January, find everything you need to see.
Exactly, for sure.
On CBC TV. And stream anytime on CBC Gem.
I'm heading to the African continent and across the diaspora to speak with activists, artists, athletes. I'm Amanda Paris, always pushing the conversation forward. And this is For the Culture.
Are you serious? And shuffles off upstairs, all secretive.
I find the process therapeutic.
Coronation Street on CBC TV and stream on CBC Gem.
Dustin Smith surrounds himself with family and ancestors in his sewing workroom in Nunavut, Northwest Territories. The parka maker is part of a long line of sewers, and parkas made by and belonging to his family line his walls. We visited Smith in his home in Nunavut to learn more about what he does and how he marries traditional and modern design. Dustin, can you just start by introducing yourself, telling us who you are, and also just describe where we're standing right now?
So, we're standing in my sewing room, and I'm a generational seamstress that's been sewing for 5 years now.
What does generational seamstress mean?
My great-grandparents, grandmothers were seamstresses, my grandmothers were seamstresses, my mom's a seamstress, and I am one too.
So there's a lot of love in this room because I understand there's pieces from all of them as well. Yes. Tell me what it means to you to be a generational sewist like that.
It feels nice because I'm able to carry on the culture and carry it on to the next generation, and it's something that I really enjoy doing.
Tell me a little bit about your culture and how it influences the designs that we see around us.
So I'm Inupiaq and Inuvialuit, meaning I have Alaskan roots. So I have Alaskan style, I have Canadian style, and yeah.
Describe some of the differences between the Alaskan and the Canadian, especially the Inuvialuit style.
Well, for Alaskan style, this one's a good example where the Delta braid is almost the same color as the parky, and it tends to have a lot more rickrack and detail into it.
And what's an Inuvialuit style you can show us?
This one is more of a old-fashioned set, where it has the Delta braid and the beadwork on it.
And let's just get in on that Delta braid, because Delta braid is a really incredible, complex piece of artwork. So can you describe how you make Delta braid for us?
It's very tedious, but you gotta start off with one row, and then your tabs, and then you do another row, and then you flip your tabs that way, and then you put tabs beside it as well, creating a design.
How does it feel when you're surrounded by the influence of not only your cultures, but also your family?
It feels amazing because I love doing what I'm doing, and my family really loves what I'm doing as well.
If you don't mind me asking, you had mentioned that one of the things that you were trying to achieve with all of this, in a way, is also breaking down some gender barriers, traditional gender roles. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
So this piece right here, it's a traditional women's parkie, but it's mine. And I kind of wanted to start blurring the lines of gender roles between men's parkies and women's parkies. And I always say, as long as you feel comfortable wearing it, you could wear it. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how have people responded to that?
I've gotten somewhat negative backlash. I've gotten a lot of positive thoughts on it, because a lot of people do see that I'm starting to try keep the culture up to modern day times.
Yeah, tell me about how you're modernizing things as well as keeping the traditions alive.
Well, sewing things differently. I've looked at some really old parkas and really old jackets, and they are so differently back in the day from my grandparents to now, which I find is really nice. So I'm able to modernize the sewing, but still keep the old fashion in.
And finally, there's some very unique garments right here.
Yes.
I want to call them garments because they are works of art.
Yes.
Describe what these are.
So this is my dog's Pearl's Mother Hubbard parkie. Very old-fashioned style with the bottom in that. And then my dog's muskrat parkie, which I absolutely love.
It's beautiful. What's it like to sew a full muskrat parkie like that?
It took 3 days to make, but the 3 days, I was doing it every day. First it was the main body, and then I did the trim down here because it was so intricate.
Yeah.
And then the hood, and sewed everything together.
And what does she think of her coats when you put them on?
She gets so excited putting them on. She's always so happy putting them on. She's like, as soon as you grab it, she knows you have it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you, Dustin, have a message for anyone who's watching who might like to pick up this kind of artistry, but maybe feels a little, hesitant or scared?
I started off with a really tiny, just a normal sewing machine. And then over the years that went from a small machine to heavy duty to fully computerized machines. So I'd say keep sewing. It's not going to happen overnight. This took me 5 years to make pieces like this. And it took a lot of work and time and effort put into it.
How lucky you are to be surrounded by the love that your family has for all of this, and for you to continue that on.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having us here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
The Arctic Winter Games are now less than 2 months away. Excitement is growing, but as we told you earlier, so too are tensions in the circumpolar world. Donald Trump's fresh comments this week about taking over Greenland have some athletes and organizers on edge. George Moratis reports.
U.S. President Donald Trump is doubling down on Greenland, threatening to use military force to obtain the nation of about 56,000 people.
We are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not. But if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way.
Trump's January 9th comments come as Whitehorse prepares to host the 2026 Arctic Winter Games, a gathering that will feature athletes from across the circumpolar region, including Alaska, and upwards of 200 athletes from Greenland. Organizers of the Games say they're keeping the current Arctic geopolitical tensions at bay, but it's not the first time international politics has cast a shadow on the sports gathering. After the invasion of Ukraine, the Russian delegation to the Arctic Winter Games was suspended in 2022. In a statement at the time, the AWG International Committee said the suspension of the Russian team is part of an ongoing commitment to youth safety, legal compliance, and the integrity of the Games. That Russian suspension remains in place. But for the upcoming Whitehorse gathering, the Games continue as planned.
We're not going to cancel the Games.
Rada, who is American, has been involved with the Games since 1974.
I mean, there's all this chatter going on. If something about the chatter changes and there's more seriousness, I'm sure that everybody will we'll just have to deal with it. I have a daughter-in-law who is actually Danish, and she provides me with her thoughts. And I have lots of friends around the circumpolar world. And at this point, again, our focus is the Games.
In a statement to CBC, Klaus Nielsen, the president of the Sports Confederation of Greenland, said at the present time they have no concerns about sending Greenlandic athletes and coaches to the Arctic Winter Games, and that they have no intention of withdrawing from participation. The Arctic Winter Games begin March 8th. This will be the 5th time Whitehorse has hosted the event. George Moratis, CBC News, Whitehorse.
And that is Northbeat for tonight. For news anytime, go to cbc.ca/north. Thank you for watching. We leave you with scenes from the old-time dance in Nunavut this weekend. It was part of the Nunavut Sunrise Festival. I'm Megan Roberts. Have a good night.